famous actor, Margaret Scott, well-known actress, also mother to Susan Waldridge, who played Anne Whelan on the television in Bad Company.
I sent you a check this morning.
You did? How are you, darling?
Very well.
I didn't recognise you for a second. With your glasses. And there's Susie Waldridge, who played Anne Whelan in Bad Company, with Jason Morrell, the actor. And he needs no identification. Malcolm Tierney, actor. Well represented by the world of film and television, it seems. Jolly good run. Or was that the charm of the police? We are now being moved off behind the barrier in order for them to... whatever. Judith Ward, fellow sufferer. And here we have Keeper. Nice to see you. This is Keeper Malcolm. Malcolm Tierney. There you go. Wishing you well. We are. Will you give a message to these?
Let's hope that this is the last time we have to do this. We hope to see you very soon. Tea, for supper, don't we, Mum?
Yes, the whole thing resolved, these men free.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Cheers. Should only go to Westminster.
Do you want to talk to?
And this is to show you this wonderful press coverage we have here today. Article broke in The Guardian this morning, and as a result, a lot of journalists, television cameras, the lot. Everybody here signing your petitions. Sorry, Claire.
I seem to remember him.
This is Robin Ellis talking to
I seem to remember him mentioning your name.
Tim Page.
I turned him on for the first time. You talked to Mrs. Hughes. After Hong Kong.
Sorry. Robin, have you been here? Have you been on these demonstrations before?
No, this
is your first time in support of them. You got a message?
I've been supporting it, but not my body, so to speak.
Now today your body is here. Do you have a message for them?
Well, I think the fact is that a lot of people are thinking of you. A lot of people have faith, and I think the time will come sooner than later that.
I heard you were coming. I knew you were coming.
We played Joe. George, do you have a message for this? Is for the tape I'm making for the chaps inside. For Joe.
Hello, boys.
For the boys.
Hello, Jimmy. Hello, Michael. Hello, Vinny. See you soon, we hope.
Susie, do a commentary on this.
Anne's here talking to the woman in red who's Ira Spencer, who wishes very good luck. She's turned up for us today. Hi, Teresa.
More support. Brilliant. Very well.
Okay, very well. And I'll pay
Hi, how are you? Okay. Yeah. It's my friend B who's doing a video for Ned. She's records.
Will you say hello?
Yes.
Say hello on the video.
You turned up. Do you know Seth, Linda, Paul, and Deirdre Linda?
Hi. Do you want to do this again for the camera?
Can I do this again, please? This is Kirsty McCall, Seth Linda, Jerry Hunter, Deirdre Linda, and
Saoirse Linder.
Baby Linda.
Baby Linda.
Saoirse Linder and Ciara Linder.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, and where's another one?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
And a little Kieran Linden.
No, I'm not doing it this year. I can't get the back.
Georgia. Yes, I've got George already done a message. All right, you're allowed to. There.
You nearly finished now.
No, I'm halfway through.
How are you? Thank you very much for providing a face and a body here.
Can I get that on video? This is for the boys inside. I want to. Here's Roger Lloyd Pack.
Hello, I've just been had this camera thrust in my face. I've just arrived here,
Do you have a message for them?
and my message is to keep your hopes up, have faith. People haven't forgotten about you in here, and we all believe in your innocence. And as many people as possible are trying to prove that and to get Michael Howard to open the case again. So you're not forgotten.
Here's Susie with Billy Parr, another Birmingham 6.
Thank you for coming. Sometimes I want to say on to you every time I see you. Hello, on.
I hope you got that.
Yes.
Get this mixed up.
Do you want to say something to? This is going to them.
Where is it?
Going to Michael and Vincent.
Oh, is it Michael and Vincent and Jim? All right, Jimmy. Wish you were here. Do your bird. All right, Vincent. We'll see you here sometime, supporting somebody else the next time, hopefully.
Good.
Okay, when you see Prem and Sam here and Jerry.
Yes,
Look at this one here.
Yeah, we've got
Jerry,
Jerry.
will
Will you say something?
To Michael and Vincent and Jim. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I do apologise.
Street, you know, and waiting for justice in the world.
Great.
And it's. Sorry, I think I might have missed the introduction on the sound because of the traffic. Could you just do it again, Kika?
What,
Just
the whole thing?
No, just say.
That was Rade Serbagia from former Yugoslavia, who also is his whole country.
And there's a look down there at the Houses of Parliament. Okay, here they go. Oh, sorry. They're going in now. Can't get in there, you can see. BBC, ITV. Brilliant. And they go.
Say something to the man. Could you just say something for Jimmy?
And the one
Vincent
underneath.
and for Michael.
Jimmy, Vincent, Michael, hello.
This
how
one's
are
for
you?
Michael Howard.
This is a very good turnout today, and I hope you're all well and keep up the hopes. We're all thinking of you.
And here's Kirsty McCall
Kirsty
to say
McCall.
also.
Great,
That one, Kirsty.
greatest songstress in the world.
Good for
Cheers.
you. Great.
Thank you.
Hang on. Whilst I'm going to say this is very much a home video.
I would like to introduce you now.
He's already done it.
Jimmy, oh, have you?
Yes.
Oh, he's done
a good
already.
message.
I'm sorry. I'll find somebody else.
Interview going on here. Beautiful. And I always spent in thinking of only for years.
You've got the cancer in this
to come for a walk.
Being filmed. 2 of the 6. Young and old offering their support. Look, the smallest fan here. Kit Page. Playing now, right.
Pauline Moran plays Miss Lemon in Porrow. This is for Jimmy, Vincent and Michael.
I'm B, I'm photographing you.
Yes, dear.
Pauline has something to say to you.
Is it running now?
It's running now.
Oh, right. Well, I hope that justice will soon be done and you'll soon be out where you all belong.
Mr. David Owen just disappeared into the tube. He didn't join us. Surprise.
My view is this, what I put my view to is that I think that this material is so important that they should establish in principle whether there is anything in it, in the sense that they must do that themselves. Once they've established that, they should go back to the court to continue their investigation as to why this is happening, whilst we're waiting in the queue, because we know that it takes a year to get back to the court, or several months at least.
There's that brave woman.
No, what they said there is quite interesting, is that they've strengthened the inquiry service.
Wait a minute now, we're recording.
All right, Jimmy. Because he talks like that, doesn't he? All right, Jimmy. Knock on there, son. When you get to 18 years, you can start working. All right.
This today, and everything was so good in it. Would you like to give a... This is for the men. Yes, it's for the men. For Jimmy and Michael and Vincent.
Oh, great. Well, listen, I hope it all happens very soon and that you're out
How about that?
before we know it. I really wish you were.
They're really dragging their feet. I really despair sometimes. I put in really very powerful new evidence 1 year ago today, and I can tell you that one person was not interviewed until the 11th of May this year, some 11 months after this petition went in. Other people have not been interviewed before at all. Now, that really is quite disgraceful in my view. They've got to get this thing underway properly.
So when do you think you're going to see some progress? Because after all, it is dragging on and on. And in the meantime, one of the 4 has died, 3 men are still in jail.
Well, I think that's a question better addressed to the Home Secretary. I mean, it's not for want of trying. I begged him, pleaded with him, written to him and said, get on with it. I don't expect him to conclude this inquiry within a matter of days or even 2 or 3 weeks, but I do think it ought to be concluded in a matter of 2 or 3 months. I think the idea of 1 year and the investigation is still dragging on and he hasn't even considered the results of that inquiry yet is outrageous. Okay? Fingerprints in YouTube, 45 days after the murder. Right? They've got these prints. They've eliminated all the usual suspects like relatives and different like that. They're so convinced that they've got the killer's prints on things strewn around on cameras that they discuss the option of fingerprints.
It's 4 people who suffered along with you. Here's what's the barrage that's... See? This is called coverage.
Make your way up.
I'd love to get Jim Nichol, is it?
Yes.
Solicitor, put up just to say something to them, do you think? What about one of the 6 who didn't? What about asking him? He didn't do anything. He just turned around and said he was... We should get him too. That one here.
This is my friend B, who's doing John today. just to say.
You're going to send it? All right, Jimmy, Michael and Vinny, we've got some really good evidence this time. We've got fingerprints that prove that you were not at the farm and prove that somebody else did the killing of Carl Bridgewater, and I feel really confident we're going to get this back soon.
This chap just did a nice long interview. Very sympathetic. Just a second.
Yes, do it down there.
What?
Do it
down.
I dare say it's all
I'm so sorry. Decapitated somebody.
Well, I definitely know you. You have. I met your mum. She was lovely. Yes.
She's a pal.
You know Anne. You know Anne.
Of course, I haven't seen you properly today. How are you?
I'm fine.
Nice to see you.
And you.
Yes.
And you.
So, you put in the thing then?
Well, no, they didn't allow me.
Central Hall.
They only allowed 3, so
Yeah,
I
sure,
stepped
sure.
back.
I'm going to ask the two of you. This is my friend B.
Hello,
who's
B.
making a video for Paul, for Vinny, Michael, and Jimmy. So would you say a few words? Just come
Has she got a
outside?
microphone on there?
Yeah, we're hoping it's picking up. I mean, it's...
On the machine?
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
I mean, these things are going to be absolutely devastating, aren't they? You can take these things
Oh,
in your
yes,
bloody
I brought
pocket.
one of them. I should have brought
We haven't listened to it yet. We're hoping it's picking up
Yeah,
loud
okay.
and clear, so
So-
talk loud and clear.
What do you want me to do? Do you want me just to
want
make a
give them
statement?
Just give them a message, because it's going to them. I've been showing them what's happening
Oh,
today.
yes, okay. Well, here you are. Vinny, Michael and Jimmy, here we are, and this is the biggest demonstration we've ever had on the case. By far, I mean, it's by far bigger than June the 8th last year. It's bigger than any other meeting or demonstration we've ever had on the case, and it just shows that the thing is growing. More and more people are coming along. Wasn't a great deal of publicity for it. We got a letter in the Guardian this morning, but it shows that the thing is getting through to people, and so I hope you keep your spirits up. That's the main thing. Somehow or other, keep your spirits up, and something's got to happen before too long. Good luck.
Okay, we're running now.
Hello, Vinny. Hello, Michael. I haven't met you yet, but I will do soon. Great turnout today, and I'm looking after your mum.
Hello, Vinny, Michael and Jimmy. This has been brilliant today. This has got to be the end. Keep your spirits up.
And here's Jill Morrell, lending her support. And I'm about to back into somebody.
Proud that the Bridgewater 4 campaign is based there. And I want to welcome you all to the meeting today. It's going to last for an hour, and I'm grateful to you for coming and also for joining in the lobby of the Home Office today. And this important evidence that's been put into the Home Office today is a crucial part of our campaign. You've all no doubt read the story in the Guardian today about the fingerprint evidence that's required by the defence solicitors. If they can't release it, I ask, what have they got to hide? The time it was released. We want no more cover-ups in this appalling miscarriage of justice that we're dealing with here today. Before I invite the speakers, there's a number of people in the audience I want to pay a special welcome to, and I'm grateful if you'd join in that welcome to them. They're people who themselves have been victims of miscarriage of justice and have shown their courage by the first thing they're doing on their release from prison after, in some cases, many years of wrongful incarceration, is to join in the freedom of others, and I think that is a great tribute to them. First of all, I'd like to welcome Prem. Where are you, Prem? Please stand up. Released just 2 weeks ago after 7.5 years in prison, and it's great to see you here, and it's a tribute to you and your strength that you're here to join in the release of others. I think that's lovely. Okay, Jerry Hunter of the Birmingham Six. Great to see you, Billy. Judy Ward. Seymour Williams and Patrick Smith, recently released. And the freedom of all those people and the victories we've achieved never happened before, and I'm sure it never happened again. Just an aberration, that's all. The place is in recess, and apparently it's impossible to go in the committee room while it's in recess. Don't ask me why. It's over there and it's empty at the moment, but it's well guarded, so there you go. Sorry about that. I put it right, but I haven't got enough friends in Parliament to do that. We also, first of all, Anne Skepp. She here? Wait, yeah. Becky Robinson. Teresa Robinson. And Nick Malloy. It's great to see you all here, and all the support that we've got here. This is a high-spirited, it's a happy campaign. Above all, it's a campaign that's on its way to a victory, because there are too many people who've spent too many years wasting away in British prisons, while those in the know deliberately obstruct the course of justice, deliberately hide evidence, deliberately refuse to give crucial bits of evidence to defence solicitors, and this has come out time and time and time again in the Court of Appeal, as we've gained reference of cases there. And so today we're here to support the Bridgewater campaign, and I want first of all to invite to speak to you now a brilliant person, Jim Nichol, the solicitor for the campaign.
I want to review the evidence that's before the Home Secretary. In fact, although this is the first anniversary of the last petition I put in, it is the anniversary of another petition, and that's a petition that was put in on the 8th of June 1991. And in that petition, I proved conclusively that the confession of Pat Malloy was fabricated by police officers. The evidence that I placed before the Home Secretary included a man called Brian Butterworth, who carried out forensic tests, which proved conclusively that the possibility of Pat Malloy making that confession was 1 in a million. Now, I couldn't understand it in February 1993 when that petition was kicked into touch. I have to say I was deeply disappointed, as were other members of the family. But I learned why it had been kicked into touch, and that gave rise to last year's petition. It had been kicked into touch for this reason, that the Home Secretary, through his officers, had instructed the Merseyside Police to carry out an investigation and to consider the reports that I'd sent from the experts. And he got the wrong answer. They instructed a man called Dr. Eric Shepherd on their behalf, an honest man, a man who came up with the goods so far as I was concerned and said, yes, the defence are right. This confession has been fabricated and could not have been taken in the way in which the police claim it was taken. It is not the words of Patrick Malloy. And so that report went from the Merseyside Police to the Home Secretary. But what they did before sending that report, because they didn't like it, they encouraged two other experts who were only given part of the information, who then agreed with the Merseyside report, which enabled or the Merseyside Police opinion, which enabled the Home Secretary to kick it into touch. But he did not figure with the honesty of Dr. Eric Shepherd, who made further submissions, and of course that gave rise to my petition a year ago today. And the evidence, I have to say, that we have accumulated since that day is really phenomenally powerful. First of all, Dr. Shepherd himself has submitted 2 or 3 reports to the Home Secretary, each of them more damning than the last one, each of them saying that new evidence has come to light which really proves conclusively that this confession was fabricated. And there are bits and pieces of evidence that has come to light over those months. More damning still is the evidence that Pat Malloy was ill-treated whilst he was in Womborne police station. This was unknown to the government experts who were asked to pass comment as to whether Pat Malloy was ill-treated. I have discovered that there are 14 missing interviews. What is absolutely crystal clear is that Pat Malloy was lifted from his home on the 8th of December and his feet never touched the ground for many, many days. He was kept in solitary confinement and he was interviewed by police officers. But only the interviews that those police officers wanted the court to see were ever produced to the defence. And I've been able, by a process of amalgamating documents and looking at certain facts, to prove that 14 interviews took place with Pat Malloy. Those interviews have never ever been disclosed to the defence, and that is an absolute outrage. When I looked further into it, I found out a whole series of other factors concerning Pat Malloy. For example, when he was arrested, he wasn't arrested for the murder of Carl Bridgewater. He was arrested on the pretense of having committed a meat burglary. And that was the pretense that they used in order to keep Pat inside the police station all those days. Having been there over a week, even the police themselves became extremely embarrassed, and he was offered a solicitor. The solicitor came from Pat's hometown, which was some 60 miles away, and a letter that I discovered on an old file says, Pat Malloy in custody for a meat burglary, due to appear in court on the 15th of December, no need for solicitors to attend. No mention of the murder, no mention of anything. The solicitors didn't attend on that day, but they attended on the 18th of December of that year. And the most astonishing fact occurs, that Pat Malloy is produced to the court not at 10 a.m, when I have to tell you that any modest solicitor could have made a bail application and obtained his release certainly on a charge of burglary for meat. He was produced to a special court at 9 a.m. in order to prevent a solicitor from representing him and making representations. He was then remanded by the magistrates into prison. He didn't go to prison. He was unlawfully kept by police officers in the cell where he was interviewed in the absence of solicitors. And this goes on time and time and time again. Even when he is remanded in prison, he's seen in the absence of his solicitors by police officers. Time and time again this happens. It's absolutely crystal clear that Pat Malloy was ill-treated in that police station. There is the evidence of a man called Dave Waller, who was also picked up in connection with the murder. And he was only a witness, for God's sake. And he was in the next cell to Pat Malloy, and he describes the shouts and the screams that were coming from that particular cell. He himself was abused, and quite astonishingly, despite the fact that the man has a long record of previous criminal activity, he sued the police for what they did to him, and they settled out of court pretty damn quick, because they didn't want the defence of Carl Bridgewater to know that people had been, that violence was being used in that police station. And that is the state of play of evidence that is currently before the Home Secretary, notwithstanding stuff that has gone in over previous years that has discredited the prosecution case. But just let me return to a couple of other matters, and then I'll come to the fingerprints. The bit of evidence that I sent in perhaps in February of this year goes as follows. It was said that the evidence of Pat Malloy was recorded contemporaneously by police officers sitting outside the cell door. Together with Dr. Shepherd, I conducted tests using specially adapted equipment of microphones and recording, and we proved conclusively that you couldn't hear what was going on inside that cell to record anything outside that cell. And it might come of no surprise for you to learn that the notes that were allegedly taken down by the police officer have never been seen by anyone. They've never been seen by a senior police officer, a prosecuting counsel, let alone the defence. They did not exist because it did not happen in the way in which they said it happened. It was fabricated. And that is supported by a man called Michael Chamberlain, and that evidence has gone into the Home Secretary. He was a friend of the corrupt police officer Perkins, who took the confession, the same man who took the confession of Horriban in the Horriban-Wilcox case. That gave rise to their acquittal because the Court of Appeal said that this man was manifestly a perjurer and could not be relied upon. That man, Chamberlain, said it didn't happen like that because I was in the pub opposite with a police officer who was meant to be taking that confession. He wasn't there because he was having a drink with me at that particular time. That is the state of the fresh evidence before the Home Secretary that he's got to get on and consider. But perhaps of greatest significance now is the new evidence that we put forward this morning. Unknown to the defence, the police have had fingerprints all along that they genuinely believe belong to the killer of Carl Bridgewater. They had very few leads, but when I've gone back and put together the contemporaneous news reports that existed at the time, it is clear there is a consistent theme going through from when Carl was murdered on the 19th of September right through until November, which says, we have got the prints of the killer of Carl Bridgewater. We have on television, on independent television, central television, the chief officer in the case, Chief Superintendent Bob Stewart, saying, yes, we have fingerprints at Yew Tree Farm. Now, by the time it came to the 3rd of November, 45 days after the killing of Carl Bridgewater, they had managed to eliminate all people that they would expect to eliminate. The people who lived in the farm, the milkman whose fingerprints on the bottle, the cleaner who came to the farm, relatives who came to the farm. They eliminated all those fingerprints, and they were absolutely convinced that they had the fingerprints of the killer of Carl Bridgewater. And let me read you one extract from a local newspaper on that day. 3rd of November. Murder hunt detectives were today planning to fingerprint more than 1 million men in the West Midlands in their bid to track down Carl Bridgewater's killer. The massive operation would mean prints being taken on doorsteps of males over the age of 18 and under 65. Detective Chief Superintendent Bob Stewart, leading the hunt, said the plan was being seriously considered. The operation would involve comparing the prints of the public with those of, and listen, with those of Carl's killer found at the murder farm. Now, what is that all about, I said, because I've never heard about it, and it is quite clear that if they've got prints at the murder farm that they think belong to the killer, I want to know about it, because I know that they do not belong to any of the 4 men convicted for the killing of Carl Bridgewater, nor could they belong to those men because they were not there, and the police no doubt find that they were not there because they've got the fingerprints of the person who did kill Carl Bridgewater. And this, in my view, is an absolute scandal. It is a scandal, and that is the substance of the new evidence that we've put before the Home Secretary today. Finally, let me say this. The thing that drives us to distraction, every single one of us, myself as a lawyer and we and the rest of the family, is the inordinate length of time that it takes for these inquiries to be conducted. The first petition, or the petition in 1991, of June 1991, the result came through in February of 1993. The next petition goes in June the 8th, 1993. I have a meeting with the Home Office Minister in November 1993. It's not until January 1994 that they instruct the police to make new inquiries. I can tell you that there was one witness in there who contacted me recently and said, oh, surprise, surprise, the police are coming to see me next week about the statement I gave you last year. This was 11 months and 11 days after that statement had been submitted to the Home Secretary. There are witness statements that I've given to the Home Secretary where I know that those witnesses have not yet been seen. It's an absolute outrage. And if you ask me what you can do is this. We've got to keep up the pressure. It's meetings like this, demonstrations outside the Home Office that make the thing worthwhile, that put the pressure upon them. I would like to see everyone here write to the Home Secretary and say, what is he going to do about the fingerprints? I'd like to see them write to their MP and say, what are they going to do about the fingerprints? I'd like to see them visit their MP. I'd like to see them encourage other people to go and visit their MP. When the talk shows come on the radio in the afternoon, I mean, the whole country is awash with talk shows on radio. Get on there. Every time justice is mentioned, it's mentioned every day in every programme, and say, have you heard about the Carl Bridgewater case? Is this not a miscarriage of justice? The mere fact that they take a year and a half to decide matters is in itself a miscarriage, as people have a right to know what is going to happen to their case. Get on those radio shows time and time again, and let's keep the pressure going, and I'm sure that we're going to be successful at the end of the day.
Please take heed to particularly the last part of Jim's message. It's a question of building up a public demand for justice in this case that's been so successful in all the other cases that we've had. It's something wrong in this country. You have to get a campaign, we can get a case into court, but let's make sure we get that campaign really going and stronger than ever before. I'd now like to ask Paul May, the chair of the Bridgewater 4 campaign, to address the meeting. Paul.
I just have a few brief words to say. As Jim says, we've got to keep the pressure going. Now, one practical way is Nicky Robinson, Jim Robinson's son, trekked all the way down from the Midlands with a campaign that provides you with everything. He will be passing around writing paper and envelopes right now. Don't even wait till you get you get home. You might forget. Write to the Home Secretary now. Write to your MPs now. Write to your unions, churches, whoever now. And my final words are, I was privileged to be involved with the campaigns on behalf of a number of people who are here present with us today. It works if enough of us do it, if we resolve to do it. Please, when the writing paper and the envelopes are passed round, you don't need to know every single detail of the case. Dear Michael Howard, refer this case now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. You underestimate your own importance in all these campaigns, as Paul has done marvellous and terrific work in every miscarriage of justice case that I've ever been involved in, and he really deserves the thanks of an awful lot of people. So please heed his words and write a letter straight away to Michael Howard. I'm sure he'll be pleased to hear from you on this subject. And please write to your MP. There isn't, if you live in Islington North, any particular need to write to me on the subject. If you feel the need to, I'll be very happy to reply to your letter. I'd like now to ask someone who's suffered, like so many others, from miscarriage of justice, who herself has put an enormous amount of work into this campaign, to speak to you, Anne Whelan.
For justice was in 1979 when they were convicted. And since then they've been in there now, as you know, 15 and a half years, their freedom just snatched from them. But it's only recently, really, different things are coming out from Michael alone and everyone has suffered. Just ask yourself, what really do you think goes on? We all sit here, we stand here and we say it must be awful. But I think mainly we think because their freedom has gone, 16 years nearly has been snatched from them. But it goes much deeper than that. I remember when they first went into prison, Michael was 17 at the time, and he was received then as a child killer. And he went into Waltham prison along with Pat Malloy. And these are only recent things Michael has come up with in conversation, as I didn't know some of these things. And he would come out on a visit after. We'd go to Liverpool, 130 miles away, and we would have 10 minutes and a piece of glass between us. And Michael would come out dazed, and other times he would come out dazed, bruised and cut. And you would try hard not to cry for him, but it was just impossible. And he was getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And I know now, looking back, I used to come away because I could see the visual things, the cuts, the scars, the bruises. And I used to think, how horrific. It must just be horrific in there. But really, after saying that, I had the things I could see in my mind, and then after that, in my mind, I think it was like a big black hole, because I didn't really know what I was saying was horrific. I didn't know. And it's only recently I went up, in fact 3 weeks ago, it's just after Eddie Browning's release, and it gave Michael fresh hope. I went up the day after, and his eyes were red, and I said, God, your eyes are red. Michael said, well, I haven't slept all night, I've been up making notes. I said, what sort of notes? He said, well, he said, I'm putting it all down on paper because I'm going to tell my story, let everyone know what's happened to me when I get out. And I said, what have you been doing? What have you put down then? And he said, well, all the things that happened, he said, at Liverpool. And there's a time when people visit people in prison, you know when you can talk about certain things and when you can't. I mean, I wouldn't just barge up there any day and say, well, look, what happened, how did you suffer? You just don't bring those scars back into their mind and those awful. But they had it rough then. Now they're emotional scars. They're not just physical scars. And for him to just talk about that 15 and a half years ago, I knew nothing about it. It's quite obvious, it's vivid. And he was raising his voice and being excited about it, so it obviously disturbs him. And there are things that none of us know about, and there have been other horrific things as well. But I think, you know, they are damaged psychologically and mentally and physically for life. And then they have this desperate and overwhelming desire for truth. Michael went on a roof through a cold.
Thank you very, very much indeed, Anne, and it's wonderful that you're here to speak, and also the way that you've kept up this campaign for so long, and also that very real description of what life in prison is actually like, and perhaps when the various Home Office ministers get up and appeal to the Tory party conference for yet tougher and tougher sentencing, they should think of the innocent in prison and the way that prisoners are normally treated, and what an inhumane and appalling prison system we have in this country. I think your message is a very, very clear one in that respect. This should have been, as you know, a lobby of Parliament today, but presumably when Parliament heard this was on, they decided to go into recess instead. And so that's a tribute to our power and our strength. And so a number of MPs have sent messages of support. I won't read them all out, but I'll refer to the individuals who've sent messages of support. Tam Diel, MP, David Wigley, Andrew Bennett, a letter from Tamar Thomas on behalf of Emma Thompson and Kenneth Branner sending us their best wishes and good luck. Unfortunately, they can't be here. They're both in the States at the present time. They're not MPs, by the way. Colin Pickthall, MP for Lancashire. Stephen Byers, who's also the chair of the Labour Party Home Affairs Committee, sends a message of support, as does Joe Birmingham. A very strong message of support from Chris Mullin, from Harriet Harman, John Gunnell, Bernie Grant, Dr Simon Murphy, who's the Labour candidate for the West Midlands constituency in the European elections tomorrow, Terry Davis, MP, Stephen Irwin sent a message of support, who's not an MP, a card from Joe Brand, the card I'm trying to work it out, but really sorry, can't make it 8th of June, very good luck, all the best from Joe Brand, very nice to send it. From Dennis Skinner, who's speaking at another meeting at the present time and can't be here, but certainly would have been here for that. And finally, Alex Smith, the MEP for South of Scotland, who's been a very strong supporter of the campaign. Very sadly, a letter from Trish Walker, the secretary to the late Bob Cryer MP, who was tragically killed in a road accident, and was a dreadful loss, was a great supporter of the campaign, and they send their best wishes to us. I'd now like to ask someone who's done as much as possible in campaigning for justice and has a real understanding of how to. It's a great pleasure to welcome Jill now.
Thanks very much. When Anne was speaking just now, it really struck a lot of chords with me. I was quite very moved by what she was saying. I think there are so many similarities between the case of Bridgewater 4 and other prisoners and the case of the hostages, which we were campaigning for some years ago. But the thing that strikes me the most is that, like the hostages, there are many prisoners in this country who happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and have paid for that with their lives and their liberty. Like John and the other hostages, they are forced to sit there powerless while years of their lives are lost. They never know when justice is going to be done, when they're going to be released, when people are going to listen. And the thing that also struck me was the humiliation that they feel while this is going on, the strength that they have to find in themselves to overcome that humiliation and to deal with the brutality that they have to face. Now, it's one thing to face that brutality in the Middle East when you're being held by kidnappers who are fighting for a revolution. But it's a shock to realise that that brutality goes on here. And I think it's easier to accept in a way that this kind of thing goes on somewhere else, a strange country, where there are lawless bands of kidnappers roaming around. It's so difficult to accept and to face up to the fact that brutality goes on in our own prisons, that miscarriages of justice do happen, and that the people in power do not seem to be able to do anything about it, and it's left to the families of the people involved, like Anne, to do something about it and to make people listen. I wanted to read a letter that John wrote to the campaign to Paul May, because he would have very much liked to be here today, but can't because he's away working. I'll just read a couple of paragraphs. He said, I was not very aware of the force situation before going to Lebanon, but since coming home have been very moved by their awful story and the effects and the efforts of Anne Whelan and your campaign. Bad Company, the television programme, was indeed very powerful. Although my captivity bears no comparison to the falls, either in time or the despair they must feel in being treated in such a way by their own country, I have some idea of what they are suffering and would be grateful if you could pass on my best wishes to them. I know that John feels that very strongly. I think during his captivity and that of the hostages, there is a sense of horror in this country that people like the kidnappers could do that to other human beings and have such little respect for international law. But as I say, we were talking about the Middle East. We were talking about people who had no respect for the fact that these men were innocent. And the hostages were counting on their own government back here to get them released. Now, people had a lot of sympathy for the sense of isolation that the hostages must have felt, but imagine the isolation that you must feel when it's your own government doing this to you, and you can't make your voice heard. When you realise that the weight of the government is against you, and not, as they hoped, behind them. That is real isolation. And as John said, it's difficult to imagine the despair of being treated in this way by your own country. The other thing that struck me about the campaign for the Bridgewater 4 is that, in a way, it was much easier for us campaigning for hostages in the Middle East because people had no doubt that they were innocent. We didn't have to first start convincing people of their innocence. We didn't have that mountain to climb. And Anne and the other campaigners have fought so hard and so well to overcome that, and they have managed to do that. So many people in this country now believe in the innocence of the Bridgewater 4 because of her efforts and those of the solicitors working for them. And it's because of the obvious conviction that she has and the strength of their case. When you look at the evidence about the men, it's painfully obvious that these people are innocent. Why should it be so difficult for the people in power to realise that? It really is beyond me. But every step of the way, Anne and the other campaigners have had to fight against this. They've had to fight against the fact that they were convicted in a British court and that the British establishment has upheld that conviction. They've had to see that doubt in people's eyes when they try to convince them that they're innocent. And yet for 15 and a half years they've kept going. For 15 and a half years they've put evidence after piece of evidence after piece of evidence before the Home Secretary, each piece pointing plainly to the fact that at least the convictions are very doubtful. They haven't asked for very much. All they're saying is please recognise that these convictions are doubtful and that you should refer the case back to the courts. It's not much to ask for. What they're asking for is justice. You can expect that in the Middle East there are many shadows in the way justice works, but we don't expect that here. We can't have it here. We must have a system of justice which is respected by the government of the country. And I can't understand why the politicians don't realise that we respect them much more when they realise their mistakes and do something to put them right, rather than try to cover up the mistakes and continue to make that initial decision much, much worse. If only they would admit their mistakes, I think we'd have much more respect for them and much more trust in the system of justice in this country. I also wanted to say that I know that after an event like this, which is really encouraging, I'm sure, to the campaigners, to Anne and the other campaigners, to see so many people supporting them, I'm sure that afterwards there's a sense, a letdown, a sense that you're back to the same position that you were in before today. You still haven't heard anything. There's still silence from the Home Secretary. The people are still in prison. But I just have to say that that today has made a difference, because more and more people have heard about the case. More and more people will hear it and decide for themselves that the men are innocent and that the case should go back to the courts. So it is worthwhile campaigning. It is worthwhile. And it is so important that people support campaigns like this, to be able to say to the government and to the Home Secretary that they really do have to look at it again. And eventually that will happen. You must know that because you've seen this happen with other cases, but 50 and a half years is such a long, long time for these men to have lost so much of their lives. And we can't afford any more delay. So I really do hope that the Home Secretary acts urgently on the evidence before him, looks at the evidence and decides to refer it back to the Court of Appeal. Thank you.
Jill, thank you very much indeed, and please bear in mind the point you made at the end, that the importance of a campaign is to get together and draw strength from us all being together, but it's above all to make the campaign stronger thereafter. Parliament resumes next Tuesday. We can start questioning the Home Secretary once again immediately on this. We want the case back in the Court of Appeal. We want the Bridgewater out as soon as we possibly can. The final speaker today is someone who's done more than anyone else could possibly have done, I think, in this whole campaign, through his writing, through his columns and his work. And I must say it's a great pleasure to be able to read Paul in The Guardian. Unfortunately, it's only once a fortnight. It ought to be more frequently than that. And I'm sorry that the Daily Mirror didn't see fit to continue its relationship with you, shall we say, put it that way. Because I think that was a great loss, because Paul is a brilliant, popular journalist who's done so much for so many good causes. It's a great pleasure to welcome Paul Foote.
I'm always getting attacked at these meetings, especially by Anne, for speaking too long. So it's presumptuous of me to follow all this, which has been very moving. I'm just really going to ask one question and answer it in terms of what how I think we can carry this campaign on. And the question is this: why is it that it's this case in particular that seems to be resisted so fiercely by the authorities? What's the explanation for it? And I start off with a tiny bit of history. If you go back 6 or 7, I wrote this book in 1986 about this case. If you go back to then, 86, 87, it was really almost unheard of in this country that in a major murder case, the people who were convicted were wrongly convicted. It was unheard of. That was, for instance, Iris Bentley had in those years a tremendous battle, even to get people to think about it. I wrote a book about the Hanratty case years ago. No one really paid any. It was unheard of that there should be a wrongful conviction. The very idea of the wrongful conviction was unheard of. And then in 1987 and 88, 3 big cases were referred back to the Court of Appeal. Big murder cases, really substantial cases. The case of the Birmingham 6 first to come to the Court of Appeal, the case of the Bridgewater 4, the second to come to the Court of Appeal, and the Guildford case. The 3 were referred back in those 2 years, and they came to the Court of Appeal in that order.
In the Birmingham case, Lord Lane held the line for the authorities. All the new evidence was dismissed, didn't believe a word of it. We believed everything that was said previously, which found the men rightly convicted, and they went back to prison. Our case came after the Birmingham case, the second of the three. And the Bridgewater case, I say our case, the one I was most involved in, this case came second. And it was heard for 9 weeks in the Court of Appeal, longer than the original trial. And most of the evidence that was against the men in that original trial was knocked out. The chief prosecution witness against Michael Hickey was actually accepted to be knocked out by the Court of Appeal. The chief prosecution witness against Jimmy Robinson was shown in the case to be a pathological liar and was described by the judges as a witness of truth. I expect, even you can tell the difference between a pathological liar and a witness of truth, but that difference is beyond the judges. They said, if he's a pathological liar, we believe him at once. And therefore the main witness against Jimmy Robinson was upheld. The main evidence against him was upheld. The alibi, which had been denied, bitterly denied by the prosecution in the original case, the alibi in the garage, that was upheld at the Court of Appeal. The whole case was chained round in the Court of Appeal, and yet the judges stood firm. As Lane had done, so Russell, Lane's friend, the prosecutor in the Birmingham case, Russell, the Lord Chief Justice Russell, held firm in the Bridgewater case, held solid, held the line for the judiciary, for the establishment. Birmingham held the line, Bridgewater held the line, and we all assumed after that case, that awful day, St. Patrick's Day it was, March 17th, 1989, when we came out of that Court of Appeal in that atmosphere of mendacity and gloom, lying judges, nothing but lying judges, gloom and wretchedness and misery, we all assumed that the Guildford case would go as well. But the Guildford case didn't go. Series of accidents really, one or two honest coppers, things like that. Whatever it was, they came to the Court of Appeal and Lane himself, embarrassed enough to say the coppers lied, and they all scuttled and the case wasn't heard properly, but the Guildford case was upheld. And as a result, that was like the dam breaking. The Guildford case was like the dam breaking. After the Guildford case, there was the whole flood of cases in which numbers of injustices were then upheld at the Court of Appeal. In different, I'm not giving them in any order, but the Birmingham case went back, and the Birmingham people came out in 1991. Judy Ward came out. Engine Rajib Mark Braithwaite came out. The Swansea 2 came out. The Cardiff 3 came out. The East Ham 2 came out. And that's just some of them. It suddenly became clear to lots and lots of people that injustice on this scale, in these big cases, wasn't an exception at all. It was the rule. It seemed to be almost automatic that if people were convicted in big murder cases, they were likely to be not guilty. How it established over the years 1990, 91, 92, all these people came out. Iris Bentley's case was heard again. Not political, who aren't important, who aren't terribly, who we don't need to worry much about. There isn't going to be any great campaign about it. There isn't going to be a campaign about the Bridgewater people. People told me that all these years. They'll never get a campaign going for these guys. It's a different thing. It's not a political thing at all. This is how it's been explained, and how they still feel complacent in there. But this case isn't going to electrify the public in the way in which Birmingham and Guildford and Broadwater Farm and many of the other cases did. It isn't going to engage people's attention in the same way because of the kind of people involved. And I think that's changing. I mean, obviously it's changing. And it's changing in a quite number of different ways. I mean, I remember going to speak in the South London Hall not long ago, on a very, very cold, dark evening, not many people at the meeting, and the meeting was called in support of the people of Birmingham 6. We went down there, and I got there late, and there was a chap talking there, and he sat down, he spoke really well, the fellow who was talking, spoke clearly, had the whole thing in his hand, the grasp of the evidence and everything, and explained to the audience there why these people were innocent. Marvellous speech. I kept saying, who is this chap? Who's that chap? This chap called Paul May. Who's Paul May? Probably someone come over from Ireland, someone from the Irish Embassy. Is he from the Irish Embassy? No, not from the Irish. He's not even Irish. Oh, so who is he then? Is he an important person? No. He's a local government officer in Islington. Why should a local government officer in Islington be remotely interested in the Birmingham 6? Because it's an injustice, that's why. That's why he felt about it. Now, Paul May, he speaks for 1 minute here. Everyone knows that if it weren't his organising capacity, the indignation. I mean, he has I have this problem, blood boiling. I don't know if you have any of that problem, blood boiling. When you see a judge say, the man's a witness of truth, is a pathological lie, I have blood boils. I don't know if you're blood boiled. I have blood boils. He's got blood boiling right up to the top. He's absolutely indignant about the injustices that have taken place. And the thing that when Paul Mayes said this, chairman of the, he was chairman of the Birmingham 6 campaign, he's chairman of the Bridgewater 4 campaign, nothing can be better for us than that. See, when the Birmingham people came out of prison, and they went and said there are other people innocent there in prison, and there were people who said, they'll soon go back to their homes, and they'll forget about all this, and they'll, get some money, and they'll shut up, and we'll never see them again. Well, here they are again, aren't they? Billy Power's here again, Jerry Hunter's there again. I saw Billy Walker in Derry the other day. He said, I'm for those. Well, you've got to do something about Vincent Hickey. I was opposite him in the place opposite him. You've got to do something about him. Anything I can do to help. These people are here again. Judy Ward, she was going to go back, wasn't she? Find something else to do, get some money, forget about it. Judy Ward never misses a meeting of the Bridgewater 4 committee. Now, the point is that all these campaigns coming together highlight the point, why it matters about the carpenter, why it matters about these people that are in prison there. Most of all, it matters because it's injustice, because they're wrongly convicted, because the whole force of the British state, from the police right up to the highest judges in the land, have been directed against these people, forced against them. This barbarous bureaucratic bumbling, which once their errors are exposed, they try to deflect it, to postpone it, to procrastinate it. The whole force of the British government and state is directed against these people, and they keep saying with their miserable cliches and so on, that things like justice is indivisible. No one knows what that means. It's the sort of thing they say to themselves over their brandies after the bloody bar dinners. Justice is indivisible. What we say, on the contrary, is injustice is indivisible. That it's quite indivisible that we have all these people here who have seen what's going on, from the police right the way up to the judiciary, affecting black people and white people, affecting Irish people and English people, affecting people who've had criminal lives and haven't had criminal lives. It's indivisible in that sense. It's equally important. And that's why what everybody has ended up by saying here, every single speaker has said the same, they ended up the same way. We need to show these people that a campaign can be launched on behalf of Jimmy Robinson and the Hickey cousins and Pat Malloy. A campaign can be launched for them as powerful as the one that released the Birmingham 6, released the Guildford 4, released the World War II, and plenty of other people besides. We can build such a campaign, but that depends on every one of you and all the people that you know who agree with you, and all the people who aren't here who agree with us, really using all the different ways that have been set out here before to keep highlighting and bashing away at these cases, so that the next time, for heaven's sake, we have to meet here again next June the 8th, we meet here again with Jimmy and Vincent and Michael here to celebrate the fact that they've been released. Thank you very much.
That was absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. There is information on the campaign at the back there. If you want any further details, please wear the badge and so on. Ask Paul or anybody else about how you can help the campaign. I see some excellent person there licking the envelope, ready to take it straight round to Michael Howard. Well done. Please, all of you, write to your MP, MEP, Michael Howard, and if you have to live in Michael Howard's constituency, my sympathy.
Right. Alan Rickman. Yeah. Now here you are. You can say Susie just brought me. You're running.
Oh no, Susie just brought me a pint of beer. I wish she was here along with me, but hopefully it'll come off soon, and I'll see you when I get next beer in.
Brilliant. Running now, yes. Yeah.
Hiya boys. I hope to see you very soon. Today was a great meeting, and I hope your spirits get lifted, and all the best with everything.
Hello Jim.
Hello Jim.
Long time no see. Wish you were here with us. You will be soon. It was great today. Great.
And we're with him in spirit.
We're all
They might have to learn to lip read on this.
Is it to all of them?
Yes, this is Jill, who you just saw giving a wonderful speech.
I feel a bit of a loss to know what to say. This is to Vincent, Michael and James Robinson. Just to say that I have the greatest respect for you and what you fought against and put up with for all these years. We had a very good meeting today, and we really feel that more and more people are supporting your cause. More and more people are believing that you're innocent, and I will do what I can. And I also have to say that John McCarthy sends his best wishes to you all. He says that he can't imagine what it's like to know that your own government is doing this to you, let alone a bunch of kidnappers in the Middle East. I hope I'm not rabbiting on, but I really do hope it won't be long before you're out and in a pub having a drink.
And we hope you can hear over the noise of the music.
Yeah.
Well,
so there we're going now.
Well, to Jimmy, Vincent and Michael, just keep the faith. We had an excellent day today and we'll be out soon enough. And you'll be out here drinking with us. Keep the faith, lads. And don't let the crown get you down.